Justin Flom has not put out a trick in years, but when he thought up this trick that lets you turn two $10 bills into a 20, I wasn't gonna let him keep it for himself. We worked together to develop this routine where you take the 20, put it in the spectator's hand, so you've got the two 10s, and then the bills change places in the most visual way imaginable. I've got $40. Do you want to use the 10s or do you want to use the 20? Two 10s? Okay. In that case, you hold on to the 20 like you did before, close up tight, and watch the 10s.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What just happened?
I don't want to open it. Oh my god, what the heck?
Oh my god.
No. It just happened. Personally, I hate arts and crafts magic tricks, but I was able to make this gimmick in less than 2 minutes, and there's no weird flaps, and it's not gonna fall apart on you. Justin Flom is very selective about which tricks he performs and which tricks he releases. So when he puts something out, you'd be crazy not to get it. He didn't get where he is today by performing bad magic.
No. Oh my god.
Hello my friends, my name is Rick Lax, and if you are watching this video, it is because you have purchased Transaction from Justin Flom. Thank you for your purchase as always. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm especially happy to be teaching you this trick because Justin, I've worked with him on a lot of projects in the past 3 or 4 years, but none of them have been released magic tricks. It's always been tricks that he's doing on TV or in his live show. Now this trick was something that I was working on a trick. I sent a video to him and he sent me a video back of this awesome bill change. He thought that it was what I was doing in the video, but as it turns out was he was doing, this was much better than what I was doing. So this is his trick, which was his misperception of something I was doing, but he just stumbled across in like 1 second something better than this trick that I was working on. So we worked with him to come up with a whole routine. The visual moment was there, the gimmick was all his. Then we worked together to come up with a whole routine, which we're gonna present to you now. I like this bill change more than so many others because there have been a lot of bill change gimmicks that have been out in the past couple years, and so many of them rely on magnets or flaps, and they just don't have the durability that the Transaction gimmick has. So you're getting everything with this, a visual moment, a durable gimmick that you can keep in your wallet forever, and a whole routine, not just the visual moment. I got $40.
You're not a musician, are you?
Magician's pretty close. I've got a 20, two 10s. Jasmine, here's a question for you. Which do you want to use for the trick?
For the what?
For the trick.
Let's use the
Or the illusion.
10s.
Two 10s? Okay. In that case, you hold on to the 20, like you did before, close up tight, and watch the 10s.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm confused. Again, ordered what the fuck?
I've got the 20. You were holding the 20. You could feel that it was one bill.
Yeah.
Does it feel different now?
I mean, it's a little thick. Am I allowed to open it? I don't want to open it. You're quick. Oh my god, what the heck?
No way.
What the heck? Oh my
Witchcraft.
What the heck? What?
Was this your 10?
It was
No,
my
his hands
10, I
on
think.
There you go. I'm glad we could use it for the one trick.
Thank you.
That is the gimmick, and now I'm gonna teach you how to make this. What this gimmick is it's 30 bucks. It's a $20 bill and a $10 bill. Half the $10 bill goes on the back of the 20, and then it's folded in a particular way, which we'll go over in a second. But the front, it's just a 20. The back is a 20 with half of a 10 on top of it. And what's nice about this is the design of the back of the 10 and the design of the back of the 20 are very similar. You can see there's this darker green oval in the middle of the lighter green. So if I hold this bill such that I'm covering up the two 10 pips and I'm covering up the two places where the lines of the 10 and the 20 meet, it really looks like the back of a $20 bill if you don't know what the back of a $20 bill looks like. That reads as a 20, which is why you can show the back of the bill right after you show the front of it. So we're gonna make one right now. You need 30 bucks. So I've got a new 20 here and a new $10 bill that I'm about to cut up. I wanna cut it exactly halfway. So the way to do that is to first fold it in half. And get it as close as you can. And now you're gonna cut along the fold. Let's see, do I have that lined up well? There we go. So I'm gonna get my scissors and I'm gonna cut the $10 bill right where I folded it. And if it helps you, you can also take a pencil. You can draw a line halfway down the bill if you're having trouble seeing where the fold is. So you just draw the pencil line down the fold, and then after you cut it, you erase the pencil line. But I think I've done a pretty good job there of getting half a $10 bill. Now I'm going to take this half of the 10 and I'm going to glue it onto the top of a $20 bill, which means I'll start out by flipping this 10 over like this. And now I'm going to use either glue or double-sided tape. You could also use rubber cement, but I would prefer the glue or the double-sided tape. I think the glue is the best only because right after you stick something on, if you do it with the double-sided tape, there's no room for adjustment, whereas if you do it with the glue, if you don't hit it perfectly, you can readjust. Rubber cement also has that benefit, even more so where you can readjust. The only downside of the rubber cement is the gimmick will peel at the corners sooner than it will if you use the extra strength glue stick. So this is my preference. And then second preference would be double-sided tape if you can get it exactly, or rubber cement if you're having trouble lining it up. But just know that if you use the rubber-sided cement, the rubber cement, then every couple weeks or months you might have to go over it again with the rubber cement. So here we go. I'm going to take the glue to the face of the 10 because that's the part that's going to be stuck to the 20. And what's most important here is that I get it along all the corners and the edges. I'll take the 10, it's going to go on top of the 20. And the most important thing to line up here is the green right there, the green with the inner circle. That's what we really want lined up. And then, after you get that lined up, you try to line up the top of the bill. And then you push down like this. Now, after you do this, the sides of the bill might not be perfect. You can see this is off by, gosh, that's probably a millimeter or a fraction of a millimeter. And that's okay, because you just cut a straight line with the scissors all the way down, and that will make the 10 and the 20 line up perfectly. And it's okay if you're cutting off a whole millimeter from the bill, because no one will be able to tell the difference between the sizes. Let's see, this side is pretty good, but I'll still go ahead, cut it off like that. So now the sides match up perfectly, and you can see if I hold it with my fingers covering the 10 and the place where the lines cross, it really looks like a 20 from that side and a 20 from this side. So after we have the bill glued or taped or rubber cemented together, we're going to fold it up, and here's how you do it. The first fold, you're going to fold the bill in half this way, flip it around, fold it in half this way. And now you're going to fold it in half in the other direction, meaning the long way, hot dog style. Fold it in half like this, and then go the other way. Open it up again. Now, with the 10 side facing out, like this, it's got a 10 and a 20 side facing out, you're going to put your fingers on the top of it and pinch the bill and bring it in together. like this. And you can see there's a firm point there, and now I'm getting extra edges there, and I'm gonna fold there and there. So I've taken the two sides with the 10 and the 20, I've brought them together until this way on it looks like a plus, and I'm pinching these sides here. Now, I could make the bill like this so it was a perfect 90-degree angle, but I don't want to do that. I want this angle to be less than 90 degrees, so I go even more in. I don't know if that's 80 degrees, let's say. And when it hits about this mark, then I fold the bills to the side and I crease. Now, the reason I do this is because when I'm showing the two 10s, I want there to be an extra bit of 10 going out that way. If I just had it at this 90-degree point, that looks more suspicious. But once you go past the 90-degree point and crease, it's got this nice extra piece on both ends that will really sell the idea that there are two 10s. Now the end result you want will be this 220 formation, and to do that you're going to fold the two 10s inside so it's just a 20 on the outside. Now there'll be an extra piece sticking out there, but that's okay. That's part of the gimmick, and we're going to learn how to cover that up when we handle it. And I'll crease hard there. So this is the position where I show the 20 both sides of it, and before that, if I open this flap up, there's the two 10s. And it's important that the orientation of the 10s is correct, such that when they close up, it becomes that 220. The correct orientation is you want the 10 that's closer to the audience to be the one that goes down and to your right. The one closer to the audience goes down and to your right, so that way when it closes up, it's easier. The opposite orientation would be with this piece going to your left. Now the piece that's closer to the audience, the full piece, is going down to your left. Then to close it, you would need to do two steps, 1 and 2. That's no good. So just remember, the piece that's closer to the audience, that goes down and to the right, and that's your whole gimmick there. So now you can show it. It looks like two $10 bills. When you close it up, I'll do it slow. It looks like a 20, and then we'll learn how you can open it up so you only see the 20 and not the 10. First, we're going to learn how to change the bill, and then we're going to learn the full routine that goes with the change. When you're in position for the change, the two $10 bills are showing, and then you're going to shake your hand and they will become that 20. So we're going to learn how to do that, and then we're going to learn how to unfold the bill like this so you think you are seeing every part of the bill back in front. So the first step of this is displaying the bill. You're going to have the 10s facing the spectator, and you're going to hold the bill with your fingers in the front and your thumb in the back. It's your right middle finger that's going to pull the extra bit of the 10 over. And your right first finger is going to kind of stay in position, but it goes up a little bit and back down. Once the third finger pulls the bill back, your right finger, your first finger, will reposition on the front of the bill. Now the key here is getting your fingers in the right position. What you don't want to do is have them spread out like this, because then to effectuate the change you'd need to close your hand, go like this, move your finger around. You want your fingers as close to the change position as possible before the change even starts. So that means moving your fingers down, because the higher your fingers are, the more your middle finger will have to travel to close this flap. If it's towards the bottom of the flap, you can see there's less motion with the middle finger, and then the first finger can just peek around the bill. So the two 10s, they're facing the audience, your thumb's in the back, right first and middle finger, they are here. It's the middle finger that pulls the left side of the bill over like this, and then the right finger repositions. It just, after I'm gripping it with my thumb and middle finger, that lets me free up my first finger to go around and back on front of the bill. So all together, looks like this. Now the one thing I've added there is shaking the bill. The reason I'm doing this is whenever you do something suspicious in magic that if you were to do dead on would be obvious, we always like a big move to cover the small move. So here, if there's no shaking, it would look like this. you would see that the bill is folding up onto itself. It'd still be an okay trick, but people would see the suspicious thing happening. But if you're waving your hand up and down, that's the big move, and it's covering the small move, which is that flap closing, which makes it much harder to see the exact moment that the magic happens. So that's how you do the change. Now we're going to go over how to display the bill. We're holding it with our right hand here. My fingers are covering that extra piece of the bill, which I told you was okay that that's sticking out. So the right fingers are covering it. And now I'm going to rotate the bill forward, and I'm going to do this by taking my right first finger, putting it behind the bill. Now you can see my right middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger, they are blocking this gimmick. So my first finger goes behind the bill, and now I reposition my thumb to the bottom of the bill, and I flip it up like this. And as soon as it's flipped up, again, my fingers are covering that gimmick. I'll show you one more time. All my fingers cover it. I bring my first finger to the back of the bill, my thumb goes to the bottom like this, and then I rotate it 180 degrees. So it's now pointing down. Now at this point, when I do a just to camera performance, I open it up with one hand, which we'll go over in a second. But when I'm performing for real people, I don't want to risk doing the one hand thing because there's a chance I might flash the back of one of the tens, which I don't want. So if I'm performing for people, at this point what I'll do is I'll take my left hand, I'll show it empty, I'll rotate the bill clockwise like this, and then I open the bill like this. And right before I open it, it's both my right hand and my left hand that are covering up this extra piece. You can see my left hand covers up the extra piece here, which allows me to move my right hand, open the bill like this, and then the 10 is facing me. I show the bill down here. And now, what I need to do is show the back of the bill. If I were to turn it up like this, that would be no good. I need to be in this specific position with my fingers covering up the tens and the sides. So then, how do I get in that position from here? Well, a lesser magician might just go in the position and then show it back up. But in that case, you would have this weird unjustified move. And what I mean by unjustified is if I was really going to show you the back of the bill, I would just do that. But I can't do that because that reveals the 10. So how do I justify this repositioning of the bill? And the answer is showing my hands empty, which is a reasonable thing to do at this point because people might think there's a secret $10 bill or two $10 bills hidden. So after I do the change, I show my hands empty like this. And in showing my hands empty, I've actually repositioned myself into the perfect position to flip this bill over and show the back. Now, when I show the back, I'm pretty confident. I could go dead on like this, but in case there's an inconsistency in the gimmick, I always like to keep a little movement going, like this. And after I've shown the back for a couple of seconds, I go back down like this to show the front. Now, when you're showing the back of the bill, psychologically, you're going to be worried because you know it's a trick back. You know it doesn't match the $20 bill perfectly. So there'll be a tendency among beginners to want to flash it pretty quick and then show the front. This is not better. This is worse. It actually puts more suspicion on the back of the bill because if it really is a 20 that you can show the back of, then you take your time with it because there's nothing to hide, and the more time you take, you're going to convey this confidence and people will believe that it fully has transformed into the $20 bill. So that's how you change it with the two hands for the performance. If I'm doing it straight for camera though, I'll do a one-hand transformation, which starts the same way. It starts with the tens, and then I do the big move covering the small move to go to the 20. I rotate it over like this, but now instead of bringing my left hand into play, I'm just going to take my right first finger, bring it to the back of the bill, and then my thumb goes to the back to separate the 20, and I push this opening closed, right there. So if I squeeze there, that closes the opening. And then with one hand, I reach forward. I'm holding the bill with my thumb and first finger. My middle finger reaches forward, and I open the bill like this. Again, I show my left hand empty, my right hand empty. From this point, it's the same, but opening it is slightly different. Now, if I'm performing for just one person, I might do this one-hand opening. But if I'm performing for a big group where it's a semicircle, then I'm going to do the two-hand approach to be safe. So all that said, let's take a look from the back. So the two $10 bills are facing the spectator. The bill that's closer to the spectator, that's going down and to my right. I grip the bill with my right hand towards the bottom, and my right middle finger is the one that does the change. It pulls on the bill like this, and when I've got the two 20s lined up, my right first finger repositions. It goes back in the front of the bill. Then to flip the bill over, my right finger comes to the back, my thumb goes to the bottom, and the bill rotates 180 degrees. I show my left hand empty, my left hand blocks that extra piece, I open up the bill, and then I open up the bill again. Now I show my left hand empty and my right hand empty. In doing so, I flip the bill over, and now I show the back of the bill, giving it slight movement and taking my time, and then I bring it back down to show the front once again, and once it's down, I can reposition it again. So here's the one-hand transformation. The two 10s are facing the spectator. My right middle finger is towards the bottom of the bill. My first finger is a little higher up. It's my middle finger that brings this flap over to this side here. And as soon as my middle finger does, my first finger repositions itself to the front of the bill. Then my first finger goes to the back, the thumb goes to the bottom, and I rotate the bill 180 degrees. Now again, my first finger goes to the back, my thumb goes in the middle, and I push up just the half piece, and then I push my fingers together, opening up the bill, and now I grip it with my thumb and first finger, my middle finger goes towards the front of the bill, and I show it open with just the one hand. Now I can bring my left hand into play, I show that empty, my right hand's also empty, and now I'm in position to show the back of the bill, and then I bring it back to show the front. Now that we have learned how to do the switch, we are going to go over how to do the whole routine where the $20 bill switches with two $10 bills and half the switch happens in the hands of a spectator. For this, you're going to need your gimmick that we just made, and you're also going to need two regular $10 bills. These will be the $10 bills that will appear ultimately in the hand of the spectator. When you start out the whole routine, before it begins, you're going to fold your gimmick up such that the 20 is on the outside. So this is a new position here, and the extra piece is sticking out. And then you've got the two 10s, and again, you fold them so that the face of the bill is in the middle. So you can see here we're looking at the backs. As for whether the big 10 or the small 10 is showing, or whether it's around like this, that doesn't matter. The only thing that really matters, it also doesn't matter the orientation, which way they are here. It just matters for consistency's sake that the face of the 10 is folded on the inside. The $20 bill, that begins closer to your audience, and I always like to begin displaying them like this. And this is because that's what the end result will look like. These two 10s, these are the real 10s, but I'm getting people familiar with seeing two $10 bills displayed this way, because I know I'm going to have to display them again like this before I do the switch. So this is a bit of conditioning. Some might find this a weird way to hold 10s, but by the time I get into position, people will have seen it this way before. The 20's closer to the people, the 10s are closer to me, and I tell people I've got $40 here. I try not to say I have two 10s and I have a 20, A, because that's obvious, and B, because that will get people thinking, does he really have two 10s and a 20? So I might mess this up sometimes, but if I'm on my A game, I just say I got $40 and I show that I've got two 10s and a 20. And now I'm going to ask the person which we should use, or which bill should we use, the 20 or the two 10s. As I'm doing this, I'm going to get the bills into position, and here's how I do it. I get them back so the 20 is closer to the spectators and the two 10s are closer to me. And I line the bills up and I hold them in my right hand. Now I flip them 180 degrees, so now the gimmick is closer to me and the two real 10s are closer to the spectator. And after I do that, I fold out just half of the gimmick, and that's going to bring 120 into view. If I were to peel this back, you could see the gimmick is actually opened up. And after I do this, I'm going to take them back into my right hand, but this time my right hand is going to block two of the three bills, so only this 10 is in view. My right hand is blocking this up. And then with my right thumb, I bend back the 2 real $10 bills into eighths like that. I fold here. And now I'm going to represent that this piece is the 20 when I give it to someone and have them put it in their hands. So they're now seeing 2 full $10 bills, and they're seeing a corner of a bill, which from context they will believe is the 20. Now let's talk a bit about the psychology of letting someone pick which bill they want. I always say, which bill do you want to use? The answer to the question does not matter. Whatever they say, I'm going to be giving them 2 $10 bills and I'm going to be keeping the gimmick. But if they say the 2 10s, I say, great, we'll use the 2 10s so you hold on to the 20. And then I do the trick the same way. If they say the 20, I say, great, I'm going to give you the 20, so here, hang on to the 20. And that leaves me with the 2 10s. This is a magician's choice. It does not matter what they say, the results will be the same. So let's go over the sequence one more time, and this time I'll combine the talking with the switch. I start out with the bills displayed like this. I say I've got $40 here, and the question is, which do you want to use for this trick? Do you want to use the 20 or do you want to use the 2 10s? So if they say the 20, at this point I'll say, great, you hang on to the 20, put the $20 bill in your hand. Now, I'm always careful to show just this one corner of the 2 10s because if I were to show this corner, that would give away that it's 2 10s. So I'm showing a corner, and when I put it in the person's hand, I have them hold their hand out like this. I'll say, hold your hand out. I put the bill in their hand and I say, close your hand up on it. And I wait till they close their hand before I take my hand away. If I don't do that, if I say close your hand and I take my hand away, well, now they might expose the 10 or they might expose that it's 2 bills. So I wait there with position and I say, go ahead, close your hand tight on it, and they do. Now, if you haven't done tricks where you put stuff in the spectator's hands before, you might worry about them feeling that it doesn't feel like 1 bill, that it feels like 2, and you will be wrong to have this worry because no one is going to know. No one knows what a bill feels like closed in their hand, and even I do, and still to me, I don't know how many bills are in. You could tell me it's 3, I don't know. So don't feel self-conscious about this. People will think it is 1 bill. So they've got the 2 10s in their hand, no matter what they said. You've got the 20s. You do the switch, which we said. You open up the bill, you show it very fairly, and then you say, open up your hand and look inside. And what's so nice about this is the last beat of the trick. And if I've added something to this, Justin, he came up with the gimmick. It was ready to go. I think my biggest contribution was this idea of the transposition. And what's nice about it is you end so clean where they see the 2 10s in their hand and they can open them up and they're not gimmicked at all. Now sometimes I take it a step further. I might ask, did you feel something happen? I might even say, you had 1 bill before, but now can you feel that there's 2? If I say it like that, that's a leading question. I say you had 1, but now you can kind of feel that there's 2, can't you? Sometimes you're going to get a yes from someone. If the person says yes, then the other people watching will believe that you did a trick that you didn't do, which is actually made a 2nd bill jump into their hand. You can't do that. No one can do that. But other people will think that they actually felt it if they answer that question yes. And the other thing is if they answer, in the rare case where they say, no, I didn't feel anything, it doesn't matter because you're going to say, open up your hand, and then they'll see the evidence of it. So this is something you can add that at worst will not hurt your performance and at best will help it. I've got the gimmick on this side here. The 2 10s are here, and I begin the performance. I say I've got $40, and I'm going to ask you, which would you like to use? Would you like to use the 20 or would you like to use the 2 10s? And then no matter what they answer, I say, great. So you hold on to the 20, that goes in their hands, and I keep the 2 10s. So that is transaction, and if you liked it, I'm going to ask that you take a second and please let other people know about this trick, meaning take a minute, give it a review on the Penguin Magic website if you liked it, or go wherever you go, if it's the Magic Cafe or on Facebook. Just let people know about this, and I know that's annoying, it takes time, but when you do this, it always helps the good magic rise to the top. And in this particular case, I know Justin, he went out on a limb in releasing something, and I would love for him to feel good about it and let him know that we all like this trick, and then hopefully he'll be willing to put more tricks out. So the first thank you goes to Justin, as this is his trick and he was nice enough to give it to Penguin, and we are so appreciative. The next thank yous go to all the people who worked with Justin and I to improve the trick little by little. In this case, it was Bizarro and Nick DeFott who did the play money trick. Also our friends Ryan Stock and Amberlynn Walker. And last thanks is to Jake, who is both videoing this and who directed this project. He is new to the Penguin team. We are happy to have him. So thank you to all those people. I hope you enjoyed Transaction, and I hope to see you next time.